Well, Jets fans, it is official. You have been eliminated from playoff contention. You sold your second overall pick quarterback, a guy who, when you look at the stats, I don't care what the eye test shows you. I don't care if you want to focus on him missing screens when they shouldn't really be calling screens on a 2nd and 18 when you're down by 14. He got sold out. Zach got sold the fuck out. He improved in every position at every stat level: touchdown percentage, interception percentage, yards per game, average yards. He would have had more yards had he both had more attempts per game. He got less attempts per game this season and also played more games this season. And who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Maybe you make the playoffs because you're on next gen copium. You're on that copium 2.0 if you don't think Zach Wilson could have beaten the Bears. The Bears are terrible. They didn't even have Justin Fields, and Justin Fields, frankly, as he proved versus the Lions, ain't that good. As bad as Justin Fields' team is, he's not that good. And you sold Zach Wilson out for that, for one game from Mike White, who then went on to lose versus the Vikings. I analyzed the game versus the Vikings. I was like, hey, Mike White does not throw the ball. He is not a safe thrower. He throws it into coverage. And everybody said, no. Focus. Look at how he hits these like 3-yard screen plays. And look, he threw it to Garrett Wilson. And he like threw it in between two guys. It's such a good passer. That's a reckless pass. That's luck. You're not getting anywhere with that. That is a lucky throw. That's not anything. That has nothing to do with the skill of Mike White. That is a very heavy quotations on skill. His passer rating versus the Bears was a 149. It looked great. His passer rating since then, 59, 78, 47. He threw for 50%, didn't even throw a touchdown, threw 2 picks, sacked 4 times, was not good. I don't care how you slice it. Mike White was not that good. And you can say, well, Zach Wilson wouldn't have been better. Even if he wasn't better, at least you would have seen more from Zach. Even if Zach Wilson went out and lost to the Bills, for the first time, because he beat the Bills before. Even if he goes out and he loses to the Bills, he loses to Minnesota, he loses to Seattle. He loses all the same games that Mike White has lost this season. At least you would have seen anything from Zach Wilson. And you wouldn't have killed his confidence in week 10 when you still had 8 weeks to go. They sold themselves for Fitzmagic, basically. And now what do you have? You have a quarterback who is probably going to start next week versus the Dolphins, who's probably going to lose next week versus the Dolphins, and you sold your second overall pick for this guy. You sold his confidence in the organization. You sold the fan base's confidence in Zach. There's just no way you can slice this to where Mike White is good and this was a good decision for you. I don't even care about the Jets. I have no stake. But I care about players. I care about Zach Wilson because Zach Wilson is being destroyed in front of our eyes. Mike White has worse stats than Sam fucking Darnold. That is how bad Mike White is. Sam Darnold's playing on the Panthers. The Panthers are awful this year. They can't play worth anything this year. And yet Sam Darnold has won 2 more games than Mike White has. He should have won another game. He should have won yesterday, but defense don't show up. That's not his fault. He put up 24. So, Jets, what are you here? What are you here to do? This is a full dead stop reality check. You got expectations because Zach Wilson, regardless of what you think of his role in winning those football games, regardless of if you think that wins are a QB stat, I think that if pitchers in baseball, if pitchers in baseball can be credited for wins, quarterbacks should be able to be credited for their wins as well. And the bottom line is that Mike White had the same team as Zach Wilson did. He had the same team, same OC, same guys, same wide receivers. And he did nothing. He won one game against arguably the worst team in the league, missing their quarterback. There is no way to slice this that makes Mike White starting this year a good decision for you. Zach Wilson is not elite, but at the very, very least, you wouldn't have had. You would have been able to see what you could do with the guy in what was supposed to be his development year. This year was supposed to be his development year. Zach Wilson was supposed to play this year, develop, get better, improve, which he improved. He's improved in every stat. He improved in wins. He improved in yards per game. He improved in yards per attempt. He improved his QBR. He improved his passer rating. People have dogged Zach Wilson all year for his stats. Zach Wilson does not have the most interceptions in the league. He doesn't have the highest interception rate in the league. He has almost the same exact QBR as Mike White gave you in his lackluster ass performances. Even if Zach Wilson, like I said, even if Zach Wilson lost all of the games that Mike White lost, you would have at least not killed your quarterback's confidence, trade value, any of that. And maybe, who knows, maybe you actually win one of those games. Maybe you don't lose to the Bills, who Zach beat. He didn't have Breece Hall for the Bills game. And yet, he beat them anyway. Defense played the same. Mike White just played worse. And that's the reality check. I'm sorry. Cannot cry and moan for Patrick Mahomes-esque player to come in. If you go into this draft and you say, draft CJ Stroud would die in this Jets organization. He would wither and rot in the organization. I don't want to see any quarterback this year go to the Jets. Because, honestly, most of them have promising careers. And going to the Jets would only be a death of that career. Zach Wilson won you games. Was he the sole contributor? Was he Mahomes? Not really. But he did more than White did. That's what mattered. Winning meaningful games is what mattered. And Mike White has not won a single meaningful game since he entered the league. And that's a fact. That is a fact. That's the end of the podcast. deal with it.